Hey, what's going on YouTube? So it's Nathan back here with another one. So we're back here with Stable Diffusion XL, the new and latest update. So let's go ahead and show you how to get this installed on your computer. And we're going to go ahead and walk you through step by step. So if you're not familiar on what Stable Diffusion is a deep learning text to image model created in 2022. It's very similar to Midjourney as well and other text to image models. So Stable Diffusion can produce images such as these. This is a Stable Diffusion gallery. I'm just going to go through here really quick just so you can see what Stable Diffusion is capable of. So now we're going to go ahead and install it on our computer. I'm using a Windows-based computer, but you can install this on Windows and Linux as well. So let's go ahead and jump into the install process. I'm just using a basic article that I found online. I just typed in how to install Stable Diffusion. You can do that as well. If you're curious about this article, it's just a random article. I can post it in the comment section below for you. So the first step on this article is to install Python. It gives us a link here to install Python. I can leave that in the description, so check that out. It brings us to the Python website, python.org. If we scroll down here, you will see Windows installer 64-bit. That's the one that I'm going to use and download. That's because I have a 64-bit Windows computer. So if you have a 32-bit computer, use the 32-bit. But if you have a 64-bit, use the 64-bit option. And then also if you have a Mac or any other operating system, make sure you choose those options accordingly. So I'm going to click on Windows installer 64-bit. It's going to install. It's right there. We're going to go ahead and click on it. If you're not familiar, this is Google Chrome I'm using. In the top right hand corner, I can just click the downloads, show all downloads, and then it says Python right there. So we're going to go with all the default settings when installing Python. So it's basically just next, 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 install now. It says setup was successful. So we're just going to close this down and we're going to go to the next step here. We're going to scroll down. It says install Git. It's a great tool to use for software development. So let's go ahead and get this. There's a link for this as well. I'm gonna just click here and it takes me to the git.scm.com website. It says here we can download this for Windows. I'm gonna click on the Windows option. And same thing, we're going to download the standalone installer for the 64-bit Git Windows setup. I'm gonna click on that option. All right, it's downloaded. I'm gonna open this up and I'll go ahead and go through the prompts here. It says Git for Windows. I'm gonna hit yes. It says next, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit next. It says here the folder Git already exists. It exists because I've already installed this once before, just to go ahead and prepare myself for this video. So let's go ahead and go through this process. Would you like to install this folder anyway? You want to hit yes, and most likely when you get to that prompt, you'll just hit next because you shouldn't be prompted for the folder that already exists. Alright, so we're going to hit next again, next again, next again, next again, next, 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 install. So we're going to go ahead and install this and wait till we get the successfully installed message. So it says completing the Git setup wizard, and it says do we want to launch it? We don't need to at this time, so I'm just going to click finish. Okay, so those are the release notes. You can uncheck that box if you want to, that way you won't get this prompt to open up in a browser the release notes. So I'm going to hit X on that. It says here the next step, we want to clone the web UI. So it says here there's a brief description and it also has some commands in it. So let's go ahead and pull up the command prompt on our computer. So for Windows, it's just CMD. You just type that in, hit enter on your keyboard, and you get the command prompt window. I'm going to scroll this over to the right, and we're going to pull this up over here. So you can see mine says users cart E. So you'll see something like that for your username. If it matches the profile that you normally use for your computer, then go ahead and put this command in. So you just copy this. I'll put this in the link in the description as well. And it's just a command that we're going to go ahead and put in, and it's going to create a folder on our C drive. So to copy this into the command prompt, you just copy this, right click, copy, come over here to your command prompt, click in the window to highlight, and then right click and then it'll paste into the command prompt. You don't even have to type it. All you have to do from there is just hit your enter key, and it will start to process a few things on the command prompt. From there, it says here there should be a new folder called Stable Diffusion UI in that folder, on that file directory. So we just come in here, open up our file explorer, click on this PC on the left hand side, navigate to your Windows C drive, click here, and then you'll see users folder. Click on the users folder, find the profile or the user name that was in the command prompt window when you installed it. So click on that folder, and then you'll find your Stable Diffusion web UI folder in here. So let's go ahead and open this up and confirm all of our Git information is in here. So let's go back. It says here download a Stable Diffusion model file. It says here next you'll need to download Stable Diffusion model file. This is usually several gigabytes, and that's totally normal. It might take a while to install, so just a heads up, this could take a little while if it's more than maybe like 10 gigs or 5 gigs. So let's go ahead and click on this link. Link will be in the description, and it is downloading. It says it's about 4 gigs. Let me go ahead and blow that up so you can see it. So it's right here, and it's downloading, and it's about 4 gigs. It says it's about 17 minutes. So I'll be right back in about 15 minutes when this finishes downloading. We're going to navigate to the Stable Diffusion UI folder. So we should already be highlighted over it. If not, I'll just go back in here, click on Carte, find the Stable Diffusion web UI folder, click on that. It says in here, find the folder, locate models. So we're going to find models folder, click on that. It says here inside that, open Stable Diffusion, and there will be a text file. So Stable Diffusion folder, open that up. It says here there's a text file. It says here put the Stable Diffusion checkpoint here. So let's go ahead and copy the file that we downloaded, which is this file in the right hand corner, top middle right hand corner. So I'm going to go ahead and open this file. It's right here in my downloads folder. If you're not familiar with that, on the left hand side, just click on downloads and it'll take you to your downloads folder. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll just copy, and then we'll minimize this down, and we'll come back over here to our Stable Diffusion folder and paste this in. Alright, so we're pasting that in. It's loading. It says it's about 1 gig left and about 5 seconds left to transfer that file. Alright, so the first step here, open the Stable Diffusion WBUI folder we created in step 3. So let's go ahead and navigate back to that directory there. So we're highlighted on that folder. It says here run the bat file that is webui.user.bat. So let's go ahead and find that file. It's in here. This should be it here because it says webui-user. And on the right hand side it says Windows batch file. So that's the one that we want, and that's the one we're going to run. So it says here go ahead and run that, and you can just double click on it. It has launched a command prompt window. It says here Python was not found, run without arguments to install from the Microsoft Store, disable. Alright, so we want to navigate to where we have Python, the 64-bit version. Right click on that and hit change, and then you want to click on modify, and then you want to make sure that this py launcher is installed. So check that box and then hit next, and then it'll install this Python launcher here, and without it you won't be able to launch the batch file. So make sure you have that Python launcher checked and you'll be all set. Let's go ahead and double click it one more time to see if it runs this time. As you can see, it's running now. So I'm gonna just let this run because it is moving a little slow. So I'll pick up back once this is done installing, but you should know that you don't have to click any buttons. You just let it run, and then it should present this prompt at the very bottom of the command prompt window. It'll say URL http 127.0.0.1, which is a loopback address. So let's go ahead and wait for that command prompt. So we'll give it some time here. Alright, so I'm on the home stretch on this installing everything. So it's on the last piece. So I'm going to go ahead and let it finish the install process on the command prompt. And it shouldn't be much longer because it does say on this side over here, it says once you see the URL prompt in the command prompt window, it says you're all set to go ahead and paste it in the URL section. So that's what we're going to do, because as you can see right here, it did show that on the command prompt window, but it still is doing something. So we're going to let it still finish doing its thing. But at the same time, let's go ahead and test it. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this really quick, this URL, copy, put it in a browser, which is Google Chrome, and I'm going to paste here. I'm going to hit enter. Alright, so Stable Diffusion has loaded up, and now we have full range to go ahead and start testing and manipulating a few things. So I hope you found this step-by-step tutorial helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a like. Also give it a comment to let me know some of the things that you like about Stable Diffusion, and also some of the things that you want to see in future reference videos. But thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.